Welcome to Tim's TV. Today, we're going to bring you up to speed on the Mike Flynn investigation. First of all, what was he being investigated for? The Democrats got a politically motivated warrant to listen to his phone calls, emails, and text messages. On that, they recorded a conversation he had with the Russian ambassador. Now, this is part of his job description. All transition teams, the Obama transition team, had contact with the Russians, the Canadians, the Chinese. You're going to be the foreign policy person, the national security person. You talk to the people that you're going to talk to the day you start the job, prior to starting the job. Condoleezza Rice talked to the Russians, the Canadians, the Mexicans, and the Chinese prior to Bush taking power. It's called the transition. Your team contacts the other countries and they get ready to do their job day one. It's not illegal. It is normal for him to talk to the Russians. What is unnormal about it is there to be a politically motivated wiretap on that phone call in which you have a conversation. The FBI or people that are out to get or to remove President Trump have a transcript of that and an audio recording of it. They go through, they set up questions. You're dealing with your memory. They're dealing with the actual audio recording and a transcript and trick questions. Did you say this? Did you say that? You're dealing with your memory. You go, yes, no, I don't know, maybe. You make the wrong statement based on your memory. You've committed a felony. You've perjured yourself. They have a transcript. You have your memory. Transcript is and recording is going to defeat memory every time, particularly if you're out to get somebody. So that's what he primarily pled guilty to. Why? Because Hillary lost. We're criminalizing the Democrats losing. That is not a democracy. Hillary lost fair and square. Trump won fair and square. This special prosecutor, this attempt to impeach the president strictly comes out of the fact that Hillary lost and they have to get rid of Trump. They can't win at the ballot box. Democracy doesn't work for them, so they're going to criminalize their political opponents. Now remember, at the same time, Hillary's probably committed multiple felonies. She perjured herself under oath in front of Congress. They subpoenaed her emails. She deleted 33,000 emails 10 days after they were subpoenaed. She took what looks like a $145 million bribe for Uranium One from the Russians through Canada, so it wasn't reported in the United States. Bill got a $500,000 bribe for a speech while she was deciding as Secretary of State to approve or not to approve Uranium One, a deal in which the Clinton Foundation was already up $145 million through Canada, so it wasn't reported in the United States. Those are multiple examples of bribes and felony destruction of subpoenaed property, or emails in this case. But when Trump got elected, in the order of political peace, he said that we should drop it. And his reward for dropping that has been a special prosecutor, calls for his impeachment, criminalizing this entire Russian disaster, all stemming from Hillary's bitterness and Democrats' hope that they can undo a legitimate election. The Electoral College is as old as the United States government. Every single president has been elected by the Electoral College. So it's not flawed. It wasn't flawed when Obama won. It wasn't flawed when Clinton won. It wasn't flawed when FDR won under the Electoral College. It wasn't flawed when Lincoln won under the Electoral College. It wasn't flawed when, if Hillary would have won, there would have been no problem with the Electoral College. But the truth is, Hillary lost 30-20. That's right. Trump got 30 states. She got 20. Trump won 85% of the counties in the United States. She won 15. That means 15%, sorry. So Trump won over 1,500 counties in the United States. She won 440. He won fair and square. 30-20 is the final toll of the states that he won over her. And now he's dealing with this special prosecutor and an attempt to impeach him because he won. Remember, if you believe in democracy, you can't believe in what the Democrats are doing. This is the worst example of poor sportsmanship I have ever seen. This is what happens in two-bit dictatorships. This is what happens in third world countries. You lose, you try to prosecute, arrest, and kill your opponent. They are trying to destroy the Trump administration, and if it wasn't for a politically motivated wiretap, there would be no charges against Mike Flynn right now. But if you have a politically motivated wiretap and a politically motivated prosecutor, you're going to get things like this. I'm Tim with Tim's TV. That brings you up on the Mike Flynn situation. And if anybody says he's guilty, haha, this means something about Trump, ask them, should the president-elect be able to have his team talk to Russia, a country that's got 8,000 nuclear weapons, before day one, in case there's a misunderstanding, so we don't end all life on Earth? Was it okay if he talked to the Mexicans and not the Russians? Was it okay if Mike Flynn talked to the Canadians and not the Russians? What's so special about the Russians? This false allegation that the Russians stole the election, but more importantly, the primary conversation was about what is the United States and Russia going to do about Syria. That is the heart of the conversation between Mike Flynn and the Russian ambassador. That's relevant. There's a war going on. Hundreds of thousands of people have died in Syria. Over 1 million are homeless. Millions of people are flooded into Europe because of what the Obama administration started in Syria, and the Russians and the United States have to come together to work on it. Understand, both militaries are in Syria bombing terrorists. Russian shoots down American, American shoots down a Russian, you've got World War III and a potential nuclear exchange that fast. So the idea that the transition team was talking to Russia about a war zone in which we were both active, we both have military presence in Syria at the time, is a conversation we should have had, and the intention of that conversation was to end the war in Syria and prevent Americans and Russians from killing each other, to stop World War III. And the reason you're alive is because transition teams do something like that. And don't forget, the Obama administration talked to the Russians before they were inaugurated. Bush talked to the Russians before. Condoleezza Rice in particular has publicly said that she talked to the Russian ambassador while she was transitioning. That wasn't a crime. It wasn't a crime when Obama did it. It's only a crime when Trump did it. And this time it was far more important that the two sides talk to each other, because we actively had military operations going on in Syria. Russians, Americans, that could have easily led to a massive conflict. A lot of people in the United States military and you personally are alive because we are not trading nukes with Russia. And the transition team talking to each other is one of the reasons we're not. Go back to the Cuban Missile Crisis. We've decided since the Cuban Missile Crisis that the President of the United States and the leader of Russia should have an open dialogue. They have a direct line to each other. They should be communicating. And the Democrats don't want that communication. That lack of communication got us very close to ending all life on Earth during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Democrats want to go back to it. And getting politically motivated wiretaps on your opponents lead to process crimes like the one we had. This is not democracy. This is political reprisals. This is the stuff that Hitler did. This is the stuff that two big dictators do. If you believe in democracy and you want peace on earth and you want to see your grandchildren raised and you do not want to see a nuclear exchange between Russia and the United States, you need to send a message to the Democrats in the media, and you need to send a message to the Democrats in Congress. I want to live more than I want to get even for Hillary losing. I'm Tim with Tim's TV. This is a political witch hunt that's going to lead us to war with Russia. Do you want to live, or do you want to get even with Hillary losing?